Welcome back. The Federal Reserve moved to increase interest rates by half a percentage point this week. This is the biggest increase in nearly 2 decades. Many people are hoping this will cool down the burning housing market. Are they right? And how will they market respond? Joining us now to break it all down is Executive Director of Luxury Sales at Douglas Elliman, Bonnie Heatzig. So thank you so much for joining us. What does this mean?
Hi, Stephanie.
Thank you so much for being here. We're so happy to have you. Let's start with, what does this recent interest hike mean?
Well, for buyers, it means that they have less purchasing power because it's more expensive to borrow money. Essentially, they get less house for the borrowed dollar. Whether they stay on the sidelines or jump in the game depends on whether you believe the interest rates are going to go down or they will continue up. And based on the data that I'm seeing through 2022, it's very likely the interest rates will continue to climb. So for that reason, my clients are more inclined to jump in the game sooner rather than later.
So I guess that kind of answers a little bit of my next question. Should people kind of hold out?
Yeah, I would say based on what we're anticipating as far as interest rates, now's the time to jump in the market.
Well, good to know, especially if people who are in the market for buying. And I know right now there's a lot of people trying to move to South Florida. Are we headed for a housing crash right now?
Well, if we were headed for a housing crash, we would see an overflow of inventory. And right now, that is just not the case. We are seeing a tremendous imbalance, a crazy amount of demand, and very, very low interest rates. So I don't see that on the horizon in the foreseeable future.
So why are the luxury markets hotter than ever right now in South Florida, which is kind of where you come in?
You're right, right. So our inventory levels right now are incredibly low, like the rest of the markets. But in the luxury market, we have less than half of the inventory than we did 2 years ago. And we dip even further than that in certain pockets. But you're right, it's hotter than ever. And the reason it is that buyers still see tremendous value in the luxury market, even at these higher prices.
Where would you say more people are interested, right on the coast or more inland, or both?
Both, and they're coming from all over, predominantly in the Northeast, so it depends what they're looking for. I mean, there are a lot of fabulous buyers coming in, and they like these country club communities or having more space and more yard. You're going to find that out west or closer to the ocean, and they can enjoy boating and really take a deep dive into that South Florida lifestyle.
Talk to me about some of the houses that you're kind of putting on the market here coming up.
So they're very high-end, which is wonderful. A lot of my properties are indeed waterfront, and I have a couple of new construction properties coming to the market too. So, you know, we are seeing inventory, but in the luxury market, it gets usurped and it goes so quickly.
So you're seeing houses maybe not even hitting the market before there's interested buyers?
Many times that is the case because a lot of people will, in my particular practice, they call me in advance and say, I'm waiting for this, so when it comes up, I can call them and we could close that deal.
Well, that's a great gateway, because I was going to ask you, what advice would you give to sellers, and then what advice would you give to buyers?
Well, to buyers and sellers, what I would say is absolutely hire a real estate professional who is familiar and works in the area where you're looking to buy or sell. For many people, owning real estate is the largest asset they have, or it's among the largest asset they have in their portfolio. So take it seriously, hire an expert to guide you step by step as you go through the process.
You know, I know you've done many stories with us, and one was like the housing lottery, which was the most recent one, but is it hard right now, like more than ever? Obviously, it seems like it is harder to find a home, but it's not impossible.
That's correct. And that's when a real estate professional who knows their game can really step it up and assist you and make a value-added difference in your search.
Especially for people that are moving to the area, they're obviously not as familiar, so that's Very helpful.
Good.
My other question for you is, what is the current state of the market right now in Florida? Which I kind of feel like we touched on a little bit.
Right. Well, we have come out first quarter 2022 with a bang, a very strong seller's market. Interesting, the April reports seem to show a slight decline, perhaps because of the interest rate hike, so a small breather. But I could tell you, certainly in my real estate practice, we are back on fire again here in the month of May. So,
is there anything that I'm failing to ask that you want to add? I feel like we touched on a lot of different things.
I think we did. I think, you know, we are just in a place here in South Florida where the optics of what South Florida is has changed, and we are in an evolution. And that has really been the impetus for so much of this demand coming into South Florida. So I'm so lucky. I think we're all so lucky to be living here now.
We are.
Yeah, and we welcome all the others who want to join us.
Bonnie, Heatzig, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate your expertise, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Let me toss it over to